I'm going to let the Zoom go in.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for being here. Nice to see.
Peace and blessing, family. Hey, Ash, beautiful Ash, how you doing?
Hi,
Hey, Bella, how you
Teresa.
doing? Hi.
We're preparing to go
Hey, Mike.
live.
Great to see your name.
Morning, everybody. Thanks for being here.
And good morning, Facebook also. Okay, everyone. So you will want a journal today and a pen if you've got a journal and a pen. If you don't have a journal and a pen, we'll talk to you about other ways to participate with everything. Good morning, Bianca. Thank you for being here. Good morning, everyone just joining the line. Good morning, Adam. Morning, Nija.
Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Awesome.
Good. Great to see you.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, together, we're learning, discerning, we're striving. Together, together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together, together.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome all. Nice to see Jacqueline, nice to see your face. Thank you for joining and joining by video. It's really good to see you again. And I saw Joe Greenberg sign on to the line as well. Thank you everyone who's here. My name's Ash. Whether you know that already or not, now you know. And I'm a senior yoga teacher. I'm a yoga teacher who runs a 200-hour yoga teacher training and trains and develops other yoga teachers. I do that with my company, Flow and Restore. I've been to Wake Up a number of times. I love being here, and my aim every time I come is to leave you with another nugget of yogic wisdom that you wouldn't otherwise experience, like something you're not going to experience in a typical 1-hour yoga class. Today is part one of a two-part series on practice. What is practice? So you'll need today to participate in this session a journal and a pen, or some paper and a pen. We'll do a lot of journaling this morning, as much as we possibly can in the time that we have. And if you don't have easy access to a journal or a pen, then what you're going to want to grab is just your device. You know, open up a notepad in a corner of your computer, or have your phone nearby so you can use that. So this morning, for the next 25 minutes, we're going to explore what is practice. What is it to practice? And what drives practice? And it would be easy for all of us this morning to just rattle off our opinions about practice. Like I already have a bunch of opinions about practice, like practicing is good, it's beneficial, whatever the practice is, it's good to practice. We're not going to look there. We're going to actually look at our practices and what they provide in our lives and why certain ones stick and why others do not stick. So the intention this morning is that you actually look at your life. And let's start right there. What is an example of a practice that you have? What's an example of a practice you have in your life? Would someone provide an example so that we can all be on the same page? And you may be looking, you can raise your virtual hand, or you can just jump in, come off mute and say, I want to be the one who shares, or you can type it into the chat. Whatever works for you here. I like when people raise their virtual hands or their physical hands so I can see who wants to share. So if you want to jump in like that, you could do that. All right, Teresa, I see your hand is raised.
Good morning. Being on Woo is a practice for me. It's a daily practice.
Perfect. Perfect example. And I see Bianca just put in the chat, stretching. Yeah.
And it's also teaching.
What is that?
Also teaching. Jacqueline says teaching.
And Jacqueline says teaching. Beautiful. Excellent. Good. All right, cool. So this is what we're going to take a look at today. So even though we're going to engage with this question together, like what is practice, what makes a practice, and what drives it, we're not looking to totally resolve this question, like come to a firm answer about it. We just kind of want to get a sense of what does this group think. And then we'll come back in October, we'll do a full session, and we'll really dig into why we keep certain practices and not others, so that you have an access to creating new practices, like those practices you might really want in your life, but you notice that you don't stick to them, those kinds of practices. So accordingly, today's inquiry will look something like this slide share that Mike is bringing up here. And thanks, Tiffany, in the chat. We've got meditation as another practice, and thank you from Facebook. That's awesome. So if you take a look at this screen share here, you're going to see this flower, and we could say that the things that happen, what happens above the soil, is the practice itself. That's what we can see. It's the practice that we're doing. We can see ourselves doing it. But then there's a whole world underneath the soil. And that world you could call like what supports this practice to exist. What allows this practice to exist? What generates it or drives it? What are the roots of the practice? What's the soil of the practice that allows it to exist and be healthy? And in yoga, we have these two practices called svadhyaya, which svadhyaya means self-study. It means we look at our lives. We actually look at how we live in our lives. And then we have a practice called jnana, which means literally wisdom, or we could call it wise self-reflection, like where we take a scripture or we take a spiritual book and we check about how we live versus what the spiritual book says or what the teaching says. So that's what we're engaging in today. And the purpose of that is that we can maintain the practices we have that work, we can deepen the practices we have that work, and we can develop new practices. So here we go. Let's do our first journaling exercise. So what is practice? So I'm going to give you 4 minutes here to answer these questions. What is a personal practice of yours? When and why did you start? And then some questions about what your practice actually looks like in life. What's the time commitment? How long do you do it for? Where or from whom did you learn it? What does it look like when you practice? And what does it provide you in life? So a quick example for me of these would be a personal practice of mine is sitting. Sitting is like meditation. I started it in February. I do it 5 days a week for 20 minutes each day. I learned it from someone named Blair Barnett. And what it looks like when I practice is it looks like I sit in a seat with my feet touching the ground. My legs are at a 90-degree angle. I take a soft focus in front of me and I sit. And what does it provide in my life is it provides a new sense of stillness and quietude. It allows me to see the difference between the automatic churning of my thoughts and that versus what I'm actually creating in my life. It allows me to see where my thoughts just kind of are automatic. So that's an example of one for me. Now, I strongly recommend that you pick one practice and you work with it all day today. So please do that. Please pick one practice and work with it today through all of the questions. And now, are there any questions that you have, or can I start the timer? We're going to journal on these questions for 4 minutes, just one after another. And if you finish all of the questions on one practice, just go back and do them, start them again for a second practice. It doesn't look like there are any questions, but if there are, jump off mute and let me know. All right, great. Now, just as you're journaling here, answer these questions really fully. Don't cheat yourself of having rich, full answers. And again, start with one practice, answer each question for that. And then if you have time, go back and start a second. You've got about a minute and a half left. In case anyone's joined the line in this silence here, we're engaging in a journaling exercise and the questions are displayed on this screen share, so you can jump right in. Welcome, Jaleesa. I saw you just joined the line. We're just about to wrap up this journaling exercise, but if you'd like, you can jump in and start to engage with the questions on the screen. And just take another 20, 25 seconds to wrap up your journaling on these prompts. Okay, great. All right, so if you haven't already wrapped it up, start to wrap it up or wrap it up completely right now. And we'll continue to explore practice with other journaling prompts as we move through the morning. So I'd love to hear someone share what you wrote down. What did you write down in response to these prompts? And you can, share if you saw something interesting, you could share that too. You could share from all of the questions, or you could share from just a couple of them. It's up to you. Let's start with Jacqueline. Oh, let's get you off mute.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Good morning.
Okay, my personal practice is walking. I started in 2001. It was after a bout with pericarditis and inflammation around the heart, for folks who don't know that. I started at 45 minutes and I increased my practice from 1 to 2 hours every other day or sometimes daily. I used the treadmills and tracks, but then I got bored, so I just started walking around the neighborhood in nature. And I listen to music when I'm doing that. So and sometimes I used to walk it with a friend and talk, but I didn't find that to be as it wasn't the best because we would have a lot of conversations that would create anxiety. So it was better for me to just walk alone, sometimes with my dog, and just listen to the music and get some stress relief that way and clear my mind. So it gives me a healthy body and clear mind. And I was diagnosed with diabetes a few years ago, back down to pre-diabetic state, and I'm trying to get out of it completely. So that's my practice, and that's probably what I'll do for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for articulating that so clearly. I can see you walking. I can see you walking, taking your walk there. It's beautiful. So now as you're listening to people share and as you're sharing yourself, I invite you to listen from a question. What is it about these things that people are sharing that makes them practices? Why is this a practice and something else is not a practice? What has this thing be a practice, but something else would not be considered a practice? Now, please tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Abimbola?
Abimbola.
Abimbola. Thank you. Please share. Yes.
Yes. My personal practice is swimming. And I learned 10 years ago, I wanted to do something different that I hadn't done. I relocated to Georgia, and I wanted to do something that I hadn't done before. And so I learned how to swim. I joined the Senior Citizen Center and I learned how to swim. And so I've been swimming. I swim 5 days a week for between 30 and 45 minutes. And like I said, I learned at a senior center, took a class, I took 3 classes before everything connected. And now I swim in oceans and pools and whatever. And what does it look like when I practice? I'm gliding through the water, I'm meditating, I'm planning my day, usually I'll get up and I'm swimming at from 5 to 5:30 in the morning or in the evening. And what does it provide in my life? Like Jacqueline, I am a diabetic, and it has helped lower my A1C. Plus, it's a form of exercise. I'm using all my muscles in my body, and I've maintained a weight loss. And I love it. So swimming is my oxygen. So that's what I like to share. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the level of clarity that everyone is providing with what it looks like to do the practice in real time. So now I'm going to take one more share, but I'm going to take it from a very specific question. And that is, what makes these practices distinct from anything else? What makes these practices? So what has the swimming be a practice rather than just some other thing that you do? Why does this show up as an answer to the question, what do you practice? What is a personal practice of yours? What has something be a practice and another thing not be a practice? Teresa, please.
That is a very good question. I'm just trying to figure out why. Like my answer was about woo, but I was thinking about that. I I think what I believe, what came to me now is that there's love here, there's healing here, there's peace of mind. Like my body like says, okay, it's time to get up no matter how much sleep I've had. My body just wakes up. So it's like my body actually wants what's happening here. But I would like to like figure out how to pass it on to some other things that I need to make a practice.
Beautiful.
Yes, and I'm complete.
Beautiful. Really beautiful. Yep. There's something that you started to point to in there that's very powerful too. I think that that regardless of how much sleep, regardless of the circumstances surrounding it, your body rises for this. There's some element of maybe like honoring something above circumstances, like honoring something and taking action on something, regardless of how you feel about it. You have a practice. That sounds to me, that resonates for me as a part of practice. Is it Amelia? Do I have that right?
It's Amelia.
Amelia.
No worries.
Are you able to
Did you-
answer this question?
The last question? Yeah, I love that. I love what Teresa shared. And it's that thing that allows you to, your body just automatically gets up for it, even if your mind is telling you, I'm not ready for it right now. So for me, a practice that I chose today was watching the sunrise. And that practice, when I do that, and I try to do it daily, but it brings me a sense of peace and balance. And it's that resiliency time for myself that pours into me. So pours into me that allows me to pour into others in the work that I do or in my daily life. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I just want to highlight some of the words that have come up in the shares about identifying what makes a practice. Peace came up twice. Resilience just came up. And love also came up in Teresa's share. Okay, so we're going to keep deepening this. I'm going to pass the baton to my co-teacher, Mike.
Great. Thanks, Ash. So we're going to move into the kind of next section here, the final section. I just want to note that it is 7:27, so we may run up to 10 minutes over. if that's all right with everybody. Feel free, obviously, to jump off at 7:30 if you need to do that. But for this next section, I want to give everyone just a little bit of context as to what sparked the idea for today's class. And as I speak, I actually invite you to just half listen to me and just see if there's anything else for you to see about what the practice provides you in life. Everyone's given really deep examples, and I really appreciate that. But if there's anything else that you see that it provides, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically in your family, you really want to be as present to as much as you can in how this practice shows up. So the reason that Ash and I are doing this today is, I personally am a person who finds things I'm interested in taking on as a regular practice. That's very easy for me to do, whether it's meditation or yoga or, learning a new instrument, anything like that. And yet I often have a very hard time actually sticking with these things beyond that initial period of interest. I get excited and I do it for a little while and then I can fall off. And it can be tricky sometimes to make something really stick. I think this can be a common experience. Obviously, we've all found things that do stick for us, but I think it's not unusual to have something else that we really aspire to have as a regular practice in our lives. And I just recently completed the yoga teacher training that Ash delivers. And from that, I'm really more clued in than ever to the immense benefits that come on with taking on regular practices. Some of you all have discussed those this morning. But I'm also really clued into the difficulty of setting those up in a way that sticks. And so my background and why Ash and I are doing this together, my background is in studying motivation, really understanding why we do the things that we do and how we can develop structures in our lives to spend more time on the things that we care about and that fulfill us, and maybe spend less time on the things that are not so fulfilling. So we'll have a lot more to say about this when we return next month. However, everything that I've learned suggests that there are really two crucial factors in setting up a successful practice. And the first one is being connected to the source of that practice. So being really present to the identity and the values that form the substrate of that practice, so it becomes very intrinsic and autonomous. And then in addition to that, being connected to every place in your life that is touched and affected by that practice. So seeing the benefits, not just in the immediate relationship to the practice that you have, but how are they rippling out to places that you wouldn't even necessarily immediately think that they're going to show up. So we'll call these two things your root system. And we're going to end our time together today by just beginning to uncover that system. We're not going to get as deep into it as we will next time. We want to leave you with a strong sense of the source of these things. So we're going to do another journaling here. We've got, I think, 4 more questions for you all. And I'll read these questions aloud, and then I'll give you a sample answer for each one. And then please feel free to ask any questions if there's anything that needs to be clarified. So first, we're going to look at what identities are active when you're practicing. So for me, a practice would be breathing. And I would say there are 2 identities active for me. I would say there's a spiritual identity, and there's also a family identity. So a spiritual identity in that I'm a certified yoga teacher. I also just relate breathing and the effects of it to a spiritual element in my life. And then in terms of family, it's as a husband, right? It benefits my marriage. It also just shows up in my family relations. In terms of the second question, what values do you embody or express through this practice? So I would say the values of peace, of flexibility, of steadiness are a few values that come up for me. What other things do you do in life that express these same values? So for me, my work really embodies these values. I work in education and facilitating conversations around education. I also, I don't know how I would say this exactly, but I provide a space of listening for my friends and family, and these values really show up in that. And then finally, how have you and different areas of your life changed or evolved over time as a result of engaging in this practice. So for myself, as a result of having a breathing practice, I'm much less reactive. My marriage works better overall. I have much more constructive conversations with my family. I handle stress a lot better, and I just have a general sense of kind of calmness in my daily life. So with that, we'll give everyone about 4 minutes to investigate these questions for yourself. If you would like, I'm going to drop a link in the chat to a Google Doc that has a grid with every value you could think of. If nothing is coming to mind and you want some ideas, feel free to click on that link and they'll take you to a grid. Otherwise, whatever comes up for you is perfect.
So you can take we'll take another 4 minutes on these journaling prompts. And I'll just give you a few cues, like when we're a minute away, things like that. And you've just got about 20 seconds more. You can start to wrap up your journaling here. And Mike, when you're ready, you can take sharing.
Sure. So if anyone would like to share what they have, you're welcome to share from the whole slide, from part of the slide, whatever feels good for you. And we'll take the slide down. The questions are in the chat, so you're welcome to refer to those if that helps. So we have anyone who's interested in sharing what they saw for themselves in the world underneath their practice. Yeah, Teresa.
One of the things that I got from my practice is self-care and self-love a lot more than ever in my life. And being able to face things that I was not able to face at, and look at my part where I was on the blame game before a lot. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm totally recovered from, but I know that I'm a lot better. I was blaming people from stuff and not looking at my part that I played in, and where I was making myself a victim. You know, I was like on the victim, you know, in the victim mode. But now, you know, I'm like, I made myself a victim in some stuff. So, you know, looking at that was a great thing. And not allowing, I still struggle with it, but not allowing people to control me to the degree that I was like allowing a lot of manipulation, because not feeling good about, you know, like being alone. So I allowed people and stuff in my life, and now I could do without some of the people, and I'm okay. You know, I'm all right, and I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else like to share either from the whole slide or part of it, or anything that you're seeing?
I'm not seeing any hands raised. No one jumping off of mute, so I'm going to volunteer somebody. Laura Clark.
Oh, we got a couple volunteers now.
I do.
Oh, they
Okay.
jumped in. Oh, they jumped in. We got two hands just went up. Two hands like, you said that, and there they were.
All right.
Should we start with Z?
Go ahead, Z.
Z, if you're able to come off mute. Oh, you're still muted.
Can you hear me?
Yep, great.
Okay, let me bring my notes back up. Okay, so the practice that I wrote about to start was praying, and the identities that are active when I am practicing prayer, which is my life is a prayer. I'm dialoguing with my Creator on a daily, constant basis. So I'm praying all the time. And then as Muslim, there's also 5 specific prayers that I'm supposed to make every day. I don't actually do those as much as I would like to. I'm getting better at it. But I've been praying as long as I can remember. I don't know when it started. I don't know who taught me. I just know I've been doing it as long as I can remember, since I was a little girl. So spiritual and personal are the identities that would be, that I would say are active when I'm praying. Values, love, peace, and faith. Primarily, there are others as well, but those would be the first 3 that came to my mind. What are the things that do I do in life that express the same values? Pretty much everything. And how have I, in different areas, changed my life or evolved over time as a result of engaging in this practice? There was a time when I was just existing. And even then, if I wasn't praying constantly, I might have ceased to exist. Now I'm living more and more, and I believe the Wu family is a manifestation of my prayers, because it saved my life and it's improving my life all the time. And I'm complete.
Wow. Thank you. That's beautiful. That's quite a transition from just existing to having this family in this life. It's incredible. Thank you very much. Bianca, good morning.
Grand Rising, Mike. Peace, everybody. So for my practice of meditation, the values I embody are peace, stillness, and faith. And the areas of my life that have changed since starting this practice, I am much more present, I'm less reactive, and I'm much more calm. I am, what other things do you do in life that express these same values? My way of being, like I said, I'm much less reactive. And I'm much more emotionally intelligent because I take the time to think and to sort things out. And it's more of a spiritual and a personal value for me, and I'm complete.
Thank you very much, Bianca.
Right. I have two messages from Facebook community, and Tiffany was able to type it in the chat, so I'm going to read it. So from Kaisha Coachman, she says, religion, spiritual, because I listen to gospel music sometimes, is also personal. And colorfully connecting, that's our sister Sanyan Zen. She says, spiritual, cultural, fun, love, peace, support various tribes, find their own, and less reactive, more responsive from a grounded place.
Beautiful. Thank you both. So we're just about,
Yeah, can we hear?
Asiane, would you like to share something?
Greetings, Grand Rising, everyone.
Greetings.
So for myself, when y'all were talking, one of the first things that came up for me was I got to get some practices because I don't have practices. But then I started to think about it a little bit more while people were speaking. And one of the things that I do every day is I contextualize myself. I invent myself as a possibility each day. So I don't just stay in how I woke up being my default, context for life. So I say, like, for today, the possibility I invented for myself in my life is the possibility of being free, loving, authentic, and powerful, right? So rather than the dude who didn't want to wake up at 5:30 and get on his 6 o'clock call, I get to be somebody who's spreading his wings and flying today. And that really gives me an access and doesn't have me just kind of walk through my life as a zombie. I'm actually in something that is intentional and by design. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
I'd love to just point to something. Thank you for what you said, but to point to something in what you said, I would imagine that you create that at the beginning of the day, and that probably doesn't just stick around all day automatically. Like, I would imagine there are moments where you have an option to be the way that you just kind of automatically would be, like cranky or whatever. And you then have a practice of choosing what you created at the beginning of the day. Would you say that's also a practice inside of the day?
So what I would say is that I actually create my possibilities as acronyms. So an acronym of FLAP. So, it's dope to have wings, but if you don't flap them, you ain't gonna fly. So that keeps it present for me all through the day.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I I recently have become really present to the power of inventing yourself as a possibility. And I appreciate you offering that as a practice, because I think, we can have sometimes narrow views of what a practice is. But I appreciate you kind of expanding a little bit, and anything that really becomes intentional and purposeful like that, and that actually pushes you to some next level of something, I think is really great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I was going to say we're just about out of time. We're well over time, but we're getting to the point of wrapping up here. But before we go, we'd love for you to put in the chat, as well as in your journal, just something new that you see about yourself in relation to the practice that you chose. As Ash mentioned, we're going to come back for a part 2 of this conversation. And the purpose of that conversation is going to be looking at what's something that you would like to build on top of this practice that you already have. How can we use this practice as a foundation for something new? And how can we get really present to the actual tools and the mechanisms that will support you in that? And everyone's been doing that work so far this morning by actually seeing what underlies the practice that you currently have. And what will better support that is to really take a moment to notice and distinguish something that maybe you didn't see before. Maybe it's something that it brings you. Maybe it's that you have a practice that you didn't even recognize you had, as Oceana just shared. Maybe it's some part of your life that it goes out to. But anything that you see, it can be as small or as big, but just anything that you might want to close out on as a final note for yourself.
Bianca put in the chat, I am much more grounded and have wisdom about the way I feel and what I've been through, allowing me to stay and enjoy the present instead of being traumatized by the past. Jacqueline says, awareness of how I create my own anxiety. I use the practice to also practice mindfulness. Abimbola says, I'm at peace with myself and my God. My body is more flexible.
I noticed this question when we were preparing for this session that showed up for myself, and I've heard it a little bit in a few of the shares this morning, especially Zakia in your share, that and even in Osayanda in your share as well, it's kind of in the background. So this question, like, what isn't a practice? When am I not practicing? Like Zakia, if you think about how you're in prayer all day long, this interesting question, like, when am I not practicing actually? And maybe there's an answer to that, and maybe there isn't an answer to that. But I just think that's a valuable place to look. When am I not practicing? And when I'm not practicing, what am I doing? Okay. Well, we're so glad that you came on the line today. Thank you so, so, so much for being with us. And we hope that everyone discovered something new, and that we'll see you again on October 10th when we will do a full 90-minute session. We'll really tease this out, and I invite you to bring those kind of like gnarly practices you'd really like to have in your life that are not sticking. Bring those with you. That would be really cool, like those ones that you just have not been able to get to stick.
And if I may, really quick, Ash, and also please bring with you your notes from today, because we are going to build off of this. If you weren't here, if you missed part of it, we're going to get you caught up, but you'll have a little extra juice if you maintain your notes from today.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so this is a special offer that we're providing today. So on October 1st, my company Flow and Restore will be launching a new membership. What's new about it is that we'll have a yoga studies book club. So we'll actually be digging in together on a call every other week into some kind of yoga philosophy through reading spiritual texts from the world of yoga. So our monthly membership is usually $30, and that includes our 5 p.m. yoga classes, those community classes, which we have on Zoom, our Friday night yoga nidra, which has been running strong since the very beginning of the quarantine, every Friday night at 9 p.m., and our new yoga studies book club. So we usually do that for $30 a month, and Woo family can have that in the month of October for $10 off. So that's $20 for like a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to take advantage of that, the coupon code is right there, Woo October, and all you need to do to use it is email me. Just shoot me a quick email, and I think my contact information is on the next slide, so we can move to that. I think that's the case. Yes, it is. And you can always feel free to reach me in any capacity. There's my phone there. That's me on Facebook. That's us on Instagram, Flow and Restore Collective. That's where all of our yoga events and teachings get dropped on Instagram. And that's the email to email me at if you want to take advantage of the $10 off in the month of October, so I can get you the link to register and use that coupon. So that's ash@flowandrestore.com. And that's me. And then my brilliant co-teacher, Mike, if you want to share your contact information, you can jump in here. Or I can share it. This is Mike's contact information.
Thank you. Didn't unmute. Yeah, Mike Greenberg, you're welcome to take my phone number, my email, if you have any questions about what we did today or what we'll be doing next time as far as setting anything up. I also this is the kind of stuff I love to talk about. So if you ever, just like looking to bounce ideas about practices that you have or what motivates you, feel free to reach out. I always love the conversation.
And then what's next? All right, well, Kadeem is just the most amazing treat I think you can possibly experience. So he's got a session on Thursday, tomorrow, energetic protection and self-love. And I believe that's a 90-minute session. I'm almost certain, but he's just a joy to be around. So if you haven't taken in one of his sessions, highly recommend that you come and be here tomorrow morning.
Fine. Before I go into this particular slide, I just want to say that I'm not able to drop the content in the chat right now, and Tiffany is having difficulties as well. So when I bring the slides down, then I will drop Ash and Mike's contact information and other information in the chat.
We'll do it right now too. So I'll drop my contact information. Mike will drop his too. So everybody's got it there.
Thank you so much. Okay, so if you're new out there, definitely welcome you and want you to let us know that you're new. Don't just slip under the cracks or stick in the corner. Like type your name in the chat saying, hey, I'm new, so that you can get your welcome. And if you're out there in Facebook and this is your first time in Facebook, do the same. Maybe you've been in Zoom and now you're in Facebook. This is your first time in Facebook. If you've been in Facebook and now you're in Zoom, this is your first time in Zoom, we want to know. And we want you to come back. So we're here 5 days a week, and Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 7 to 8:30. You can find us on Zoom. And as I said, Facebook. On Monday and Wednesday, our short days, we're here from 7 to 7:30. If you want to get your text alert in the morning, wake you up to remind you to join us, you can do this right now. Pull out your phone, open up the text in the to section, write 74121, and type in the subject section, not the subject, but the comment section, write Woo Nation, and then press send, and you'll be in our automated list to receive text messages. We have swag, so just imagine you can walk around the streets wearing Wake Up Everybody. So we have the t-shirts and the sweatshirts and masks. We also have mugs and thermoses. Get yours at bit.ly/Woo Swag. And we ask that you stay in touch. So every week, if you have already done this, you're going to keep doing this. Every week, you're going to sign up at bit.ly/Wake Up Movement so that you can be in our email system and receive messages of who's coming up and what they're about, what their topic is, and other good stuff that come through. And particularly do this if someone shared with you the link to join today, you know, you want to be in the system so that you can get the heads up. If you want to be a part of the Facebook group community, then you want to sign up and get approved. bit.ly/group community is where you want to go. And keep in mind that we have a Facebook group that's private, and we also have a Facebook page, which is public, and that's where we are streaming live, only because Zoom and Facebook have decided to do that. We used to be able to stream live in the group, but now we just share. So our comments, the comments that you are creating are on the page. We're on Instagram and we are also on YouTube. However, we are developing those out. If you have any talent or interest in supporting us there, we definitely are welcome. And info.wakeupseries@gmail.com is where you can find us. If you have a comment or question, you can email us. So I'm going to stop this share and we can ask you all to unmute so we can give Mike and Ash our love shower appreciation.
Thank you, Mike and Ash, for
Thank
such an
y'all so
amazing
much.
and amazing session. It was
Thank you so much.
really just the
Thank you so
practice
very
of
much.
journaling and really thinking about the practical tools that we
Look
have
forward
in
to
our
it
life.
too.
Love the idea, Mike,
So
of
much.
Greenberg
I
motivation.
love y'all.
That's a good word.
It's really great, 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 great in
Yeah, look
life.
forward to
Thank you
to
all. Have an
Thank you.
amazing day,
Thank
Blue
you.
family.
Y'all.
Kinyofu, I am loving those twists.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
y'all
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
y'all. Hey, Bianca, how you doing, beautiful?
Thanks,
Love you
Ash.
Haven't seen
all.
your face in a while.
Hey,
Peace and
Good to
Francine.
see
blessings.
you,
You
Ash. It's been a
rocking
while.
Love
today.
So glad to
y'all.
see you back.
Love y'all so much. Love y'all. Love y'all. Love y'all. Peace and blessings.
Y'all.
Wow.
Great day to everyone.
Yes, everyone have a great day. Love y'all. Peace.
Love y'all. Grand Rising. Have a good day.
Yes.
Mm.
Love y'all. This was awesome.
Good.
Thank you. How do you leave?